Step by step, ooh baby, gonna get to you, girl.
Hello Hoopers! Today's tutorial is hooping on one leg, which is the most requested intermediate hoop skill request I get. This is also known as video number 2, where I shoot just my feet. Regardless of which direction you hoop in, you can take either foot out of the hoop. So if you hoop to the left and you want to take your right leg out, you're going to look for the space between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. If you hoop to the left and you want to take your left leg out, you're going to look for the space between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. If you hoop to the right and you want to take your right leg out, you're going to look for the space between 12 and 6. If you hoop to the right and you want to take your left leg out, then you're going to look for the space between 6 and 12. I know this seemed like a lot of information, but it's going to make sense.
Step one.
We can have lots of fun.
So I'm going to demonstrate hooping to the left and taking my right leg out. So I'm looking for the space between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And that's when the hoop is rotating over the front of my left leg. You just want to pull your right leg out of the hoop and pull your knee up as high as possible. Ready? All right, go. Yeah! The reason you want to pull your knee up really high is because that will get your foot up really high. And if your foot is up really high, you won't accidentally kick the hoop as it's rotating.
Step two. There's so much we can do.
Normally when I hoop on my legs, I like to use a round motion. So 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock, or on my right leg, 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock. However, I found that when hooping on one leg, using the circular motion kind of throws my balance off. So I find it easier to just use a plain front and back pushing motion, but use whatever works for you. Now the other thing is you're going to have to balance on your supporting leg. So as simple as this sounds, you want to practice that beforehand. So if you're taking your right leg out of the hoop, you want to just practice the same motion. You want to pull your knee and your foot up nice and high and balance, see? Balance on your supporting leg. I like to take my leg out of the hoop when it's rotating really high on my thighs, because if I take my leg out of the hoop when the hoop is rotating about up here, that means I've got a good 4, 5, 6 inches before it hits my knee, which means I have a good 4 or 5 inches and a couple rotations to really practice this pushing motion and rotating the hoop on just one leg. All you're working on here is getting the motion of rotating the hoop on one leg. So it's gonna fall, it's fine. It's part of the practice. It'll get better. The same space where you took your leg out is where you're going to put your leg back in. So again, if you're hooping to the left and you're putting your right leg back into the hoop, it's the space between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. What you want to focus on is just getting your leg back into the hoop. Don't worry about having it rotate again on your leg. Just out, in. Now the last phase is just getting the hoop to rotate around your legs again so it doesn't fall on the ground. And since you're already rotating the hoop on your left leg, once you get your foot back in, you want to give a nice push with your left leg, and then I like to follow it up with a push from the right leg. So I wish I had a slow-mo so I could show you this in great detail, but once I put my foot back in, I give a push with my left knee to keep it going. If it starts to fall, you can use the scooping motion. Oops. You can use the same scooping motion, pulling your foot up, either one, that you use to do a kickstart, to save it. As the hoop is rotating, you just want to take your foot, pull it straight up, and that's going to bring the hoop up a couple inches, and then you can keep hooping on your legs.
Step 5, don't you know that the time is arrived?
So the last thing is the finesse and the style and what you're doing with the leg that's up in the air. Now, for the sake of practice, when you're learning how to hoop on one leg, you do just want to get your leg out of the way, which is knee up, foot up, like this. Yeah, it's not the most attractive pose in the world. So what you can do is, if you're flexible and you have strong thighs, once your leg is up, you can straighten it. Woo! But make sure you point your toes. And that's to the side. You can also move it to the back in an arabesque, if you're familiar with ballet terms. Or you can just hold it up right here. But this is something that I would recommend videotaping so that you can see what it looks like. But that's just, you know, the little added flair and finesse, making it pretty. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, email me, let me know, and good luck.
Step by step, ooh baby, gonna get to you, girl.